So I'm a Christian, but I'm not typically a fan of Christian movies. In fact, I avoid most because they're done so terribly that it's counterproductive to what they're trying to accomplish. When I saw that Netflix had announced the musical movie A Week Away, I was intrigued. When I found out that it had a large Christian influence, I was much less intrigued. But then I watched the trailer and I had some renewed interest. Now that I've seen it, is this something that can be enjoyed? A troubled teenager is sent to a summer camp as a last resort in order to turn his life around and avoid going to juvie. His instinct is to run, but he finds a friend, a father figure, and even a girl who awakens his heart. Okay, so to really set the stage for this movie, the beginning is a lot like Shazam, where we meet a troubled teen. The opening scene is very similar too in the way that we meet him. Then the movie transitions to where it stays for the rest of the time, and it's kind of a Jesus camp rock. So this is a musical. It's one of those movies where the cast just randomly breaks out into song and dance. And if you've ever seen Camp Rock, then you know what to expect. And let me be clear, I love Camp Rock. I know it's cheesy and corny, but the music and the characters work. And so then the movie works. In A Week Away, there is a lot of song and dance, and much of it is random. There's a core group of the cast that also drives the story. We have Kevin Quinn playing Will. He's the troubled teen with some baggage. I mean, he's flawed, but also hurting. So that motivates a lot of his actions and his behaviors, and it also keeps most people at arm's length from him. Bailey Madison plays Avery, who we can instantly tell will be Will's crush. I mean, it's obvious right from the get-go, even if they hadn't shown it in the trailer. Jabril Cook plays George. He comes off a bit nerdy and shy, but he was my favorite character. He's great friend material and gives off this genuinely caring vibe. The first 30 minutes or so of this are wildly cheesy and corny. I mean, almost painfully so. The dance moves and breakouts into song, they just made me cringe slightly. But then the characters and the story, it did begin to grow on me. The film never loses some of those cringy aspects, and it continues with the overly choreographed dance numbers. But I did begin to have some fun with the story that was being told. There are a lot of things that could be counted as negatives in this. And from a storytelling perspective, some areas of the movie are really weak. Like some game or challenge is going to be mentioned with what felt like to have a little conflict or importance to the story. It's shown for like maybe 5 seconds and then forgotten about to have the cast take part in a dance number. Also, the transition of Will's character feels pretty rushed, or maybe it's just more of an unearned feeling. Now, I understand his past and his hurts. The story does a good job of establishing that, but in a story where the climax relies on showing a change of heart, we need to see the struggle. And more importantly, I think we really need to feel it through the character. We can't just have someone sad or brooding one moment, have a singular conversation, and then a 180 in mindset. I mean, we can, but it's not believable. I wanted to see more of Will's conflict, to watch him grapple with his thoughts and emotions so that when the time comes for him to make a decision, it feels legitimate. Now, I mentioned at the beginning how this is kind of like a Christian movie, and to some degree it is. And for some, there are moments that could feel a little preachy. I didn't get the sense, though, that the majority of the film was preachy in that way. I mean, yeah, a lot of the story direction focuses on love, acceptance, change, belonging, and there are certainly moments that wouldn't appear in any film that's not kind of faith-based. But I don't remember any altar call moments either. There are some humorous moments in this. I mean, sometimes they're forced, other times they're cheesy, and still other times where they genuinely work. Because this is a musical movie, it'd be weird for me not to mention it. I mean, the songs are reworked arrangements from some old school Christian pop songs. And some of them could be familiar because one or two made it to mainstream radio back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean the mid to late 90s. I liked the arrangements that they did, and I felt like most of the time they fit within the context of the story at that moment that they were being sung. I ended up enjoying this, but it does feel like it's missing a bit of heart. There's just something that should be there that would make it resonate more and feel more compelling. And that has nothing to do with the cheesy, corny, or cringy aspects. I mean, I think it's just that some of the poignant heart change moments feel rushed and not earned, which then diminishes the overall impact and memorableness of the movie. Is that a word? I'm making it a word. So if you're looking for a family-friendly movie and one that you can tap your feet to and don't mind a fair amount of cheese, this is a decent watch. I do think Camp Rock pulled it off better, but I still had some fun. There's no sex or nudity, a little profanity, and not really any violence. I give A Week Away 3 out of 5 couches. So are there any good musical shows or movies you've watched recently? I still need to check out High School Musical, The Series, if only because of the title. But let me know what you're watching in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.